Welcome to Game and Grains, the whiskey gaming channel. I'm your player one, Richard. Now, if you've been following my channel, then you know I am a huge fan of Blue Note. And so when they announced earlier this year that they were going to be dropping a wheated bourbon, I knew I needed to get myself a bottle. And I did just that here a few weeks ago. And as you can see, I've already put a pretty sizable dent in it. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that they also do cask strength store picks. And as luck would have it, my favorite store right around the corner, Cheers, happened to have one. So I already know that this bottle is great. I'm imagining that this one is probably equally as good, if not better. So I'm going to dive into both of them and let you know if this is something that you need to have on your shelf. So grab your controllers, pour yourself a dram, and let's get into it. If you're unfamiliar with Blue Note, it is one of two distilleries located here in Memphis. Now, it is worth pointing out that they do source their whiskey from Green River. However, we age it and bottle it here in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a wheated bourbon and its mash bill does reflect that. It is 70% corn, 21% soft winter wheat, and 9% malted barley. It has a minimum age statement of 3 years. It has a proof point of 101 and has a nice, easy price tag of about $45. Now, I was very excited about this, so much so that I put it on my bottles that I am hunting for this year, and was very happy to be able to get this bottle in particular. In fact, almost every store that I've gone into happens to have this on their shelf. What I was surprised to find out, though, was that they do make a cask strength store pick or barrel pick. And so I was happy to get my hands on this. But let's go ahead and get into this first one. This is going to be the 101, the standard shelfer that you'll probably find in most places. So in on the nose. So the first thing that I'm picking up is going to be that wheat note. Now, I typically will associate wheat as kind of having what I would consider to be a type of like a wheated funk is what I've heard people call it. I don't really pick that up on here, but I do get a slight grassier note. There is some underlying honey or sweet notes to this, and definitely some fruit there. I would almost say that there's probably like an apricot or something like that. It is very light in color, obviously, what you would come to expect out of a wheated bourbon. So let's get in on the taste. Cheers. Okay, so that wheat funk that I was telling you about, that is a little present there. And when I drink Blue Note products, I do get a slight dusty note, I guess would be your earthy tone to it, which I find really enjoyable. And so that is very soft and subtle here. The next thing that I pick up is going to be a little bit of those fruiting notes, and then followed by just a very soft honey sweetness. So going back in on the nose after having a taste, that dusty, earthy note is a little bit more noticeable. Followed by the that fruit, and then the honey kind of takes a back seat. But let's go ahead and try again. That is so good. That dusty note, that kind of takes a back seat. Those fruity notes, that apricot, the honey is there. There is a faintest bit of spice that is there on the palate. But just really, really good. Almost kind of gives me Honey Nut Cheerio vibes, but not as just like in your face, oaty, weedy flavors, but just really, really good. I was pleasantly surprised. Now, in full transparency, I did get to try it at an event at a distillery. I wasn't very high on the way that it tasted at the distillery. But I wanted to give it a second chance, and I sure as heck am glad that I did, because this is absolutely amazing. And for $45, it's really, really hard to beat that price. Now, what has me really excited is this bottle here. Now, I did get to try it in store, and I immediately picked up this bottle when I did. So, as I mentioned before, same mash bill, but cask strength. This particular bottle, which comes from Cheers out in Collierville, Tennessee, has a proof point of 114.9. Now, I have seen other ones in other stores. The proof point is going to be right around the same. I think I've seen like 114, 116, and a couple that are in between there. They're in several stores here in Memphis, and I know in the surrounding areas. So let's see if we can pick up some of those other notes here on the store pick that we also got here on this one. So on the nose, let's swirl it around. So that dustiness is, and that earthiness is what I'm picking up first, but it is followed almost immediately by that sweet note there. Those fruity notes that I was describing to you before, that apricot, even peach notes are going to be very more noticeable compared to this one, where they were very light and subtle. They're a little bit more prominent and in your face on this one as well. So let's get in on the taste. Cheers. So, again, those fruits are going to be there. That leads the way. The honey flavor is way more intense. I do pick up a little bit more spice, but the earthiness is not there. That honey flavor really sings on top of that fruit. That is really, really good. I would say if you could find yourself one of these, definitely pick it up. Let's get on the taste again, see if I can pick up anything else. I like to nose it first. So it does have a little bit proofier nose compared to the OG here. That dustiness is not as prevalent. I am getting a little bit more spice. That fruity note is there, and that honey. That is so good. That one, I got a little bit more of that wheat. Not as honey nut Cheerios as much as this one. This one is a lot sweeter. Like I said, that honey note really sings over everything else. I don't get as much of that earthy wheat funk that people talk about on this one. This one is great. Now, I did not mention the price on this one, and I think that it is worth mentioning. I paid right at about $55 for this particular bottle, and I would buy this again and again. Now, if you don't have that in your area, then you need to go ahead and pick up this wheated bourbon, just the 101 proof, outstanding in above itself. But man, if you can find a cask strength store pick, I highly, highly recommend this one. And I'm very fortunate enough that they had it at one of my favorite stores right around the corner from me. So, all right, guys. Blue Note Wheated Bourbon. If you find one, grab one. You will not regret it. Please make sure that you do all the YouTubey things. I certainly appreciate you sticking until the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.